49ers lose. You know, I like the 49ers. They're my favorite team. I'll always be a 49er fan forever. And I'll always root for them. They're always my team. And I know some of you are not going to like what I have to say right now. But this is not a championship team. This 49er team is not a championship team. Because championship teams win games when it matters. They win games that are important. This was an important game. In fact, all these games down the stretch are important. And the 49ers blew it. Championship teams win it when it matters. They win out. They look at that. They look at the divisional title, and getting a first round bye and looking at these things, and they make sure they get it. But this team didn't do that. Now, so I just imagine what happens when they go in the playoffs. They're going to lose. They're going to lose at playing like this. They may even lose next week when they play against the Rams. That's how the Rams got blown out today. But don't think for a second that the Rams can't beat us. The way we played against Atlanta, we could lose. We could playing like this next week. We could lose. Now I don't blame this whole game. I don't blame this whole game on the defense. I think for the most part the defense did fine. Because for much of the game we held Atlanta to 10 points. But our offense was just almost non-existent today. They just could hardly score. There were missed opportunities in the red zone. There were touchdown opportunities in this game, and they didn't take advantage of it. And when they did score a touchdown the second time, it was an opportunist touchdown because of a turnover on a I think it was a punt return or kickoff return, and the guy fumbled, and Kyle Juszczyk picked it up and took it to the one. This team, they've been playing really good for much of the season, but now in the stretch, these are the games that matter, and they're just not winning. This team had mistakes today. There was the Matt Breida fumble, which is kind of a little bit suspicious because it took a while for that to for the whistle to blow. I thought that was kind of curious that it took they get him down and still the whistle hasn't blown yet, and then the ball comes out. But still, Matt Breida should have been able to hold on to that ball and not fumble it. This is an important game, and that's what I'm trying to say. This is not a championship team. Championship teams win when it matters. They win the games that matter. And this team did not win the game that mattered today. They go out there and they freaking lay an egg. Or, well, not even lay an egg, but the offense looked crap. They did very little. Another thing I was kind of curious about, why was it they were throwing to the ball to George Kittle all day, it seemed like? I mean, there were times they were throwing it to Emmanuel Sanders and Debo Samuel and Emmanuel Sanders and Debo Samuel. They needed to get the ball more to those guys. And instead, they go to Kittle a lot. You can't keep throwing it to Kittle. The defense, starts to be able to see what you're doing. They know that you're going to use him as a go-to guy all day, and they just key in on it. Another thing, too, is I want to know why our defense wasn't pressuring Matt Ryan much. He had a lot of time to throw in that pocket. And the pressure should have came during that last possession that Atlanta had. They should have gone after Matt Ryan and taken him down. Instead, they let him sit back there and pass. What's happened to our pass rush? Yes, I know there's some guys banged up and everything, but our pass rush was non-existent last week. It was non-existent in this game. I mean, I think they did get a sack once, but still, this is very very troublesome. A game like this that they lost, and now Seahawks are back in first place again. When we jumped into first place last week, we should have held on to it. I said in my last video, we are in first place now. Let's hold on to it now. We didn't do that. Now we're going to have to go to Seattle and win it. We're going to have to go up there in Seattle, a tough place to play, and win it up there, and try to win it up there. Because we're not. We put ourselves in this situation. We have no one else to blame but ourselves. That was a very disheartening game. Having games like this 2 weeks in a row, coming down to the wire. I don't like this. And I knew when we kicked the last field goal, I knew we were going to lose the game right there. I wanted a touchdown. I wanted a touchdown there because a touchdown probably would have iced it. And we didn't take advantage of that. Instead, we settled for a field goal. When you kick a field goal, that doesn't guarantee you win. There's still impending chances of you losing the game. Because look, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, you knew they were going to work the ball all the way down the field and get that winning score. You knew it. I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. I knew exactly when we kicked that field goal. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I've seen this many times, and that's kind of how it was against the Ravens. It was the exact same thing, except they ended the game by kicking a field goal. This is not right, man. These guys have got to wake up. I know it's a banged up team and all that and stuff, but these guys got to play and rise to the occasion. This is important. We're a banged up team. We need that first round bye, but we're probably not going to get it now. I mean, we still haven't played the Rams yet. We got to play the Rams. They're not a bad football team. I'm just, they got to do a better job than what we've seen. There were plays in this game that, you wish you had back. I don't like losing like this. Another thing that, I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo fan, but here's the thing. He has got to get rid of that ball a lot sooner. Sometimes he just holds on to it, and takes a sack. I wish he would just roll out of the pocket, throw it away, or pick up something with his feet. I don't like losses. I do not like losing yards. I don't like it. It kills drives. I don't like losing. So he just throw it away or scramble for a first down or pick up some. But I don't like losing yards. This was a pathetic game. This was pathetic. They certainly weren't the offensive explosion that they were last week. And the 49ers said that they knew Atlanta was coming in there to play spoiler. The 49ers should have saw this coming. They should have saw this coming. They should have saw this coming, and they didn't. The penalties killed us. Like I say, I don't like losing yards, whether it's a sack, catching the running back in the backfield for a loss, or penalties. Losing yards just kills drives. But I blame it on Kyle Shanahan. I didn't really see a lot of creativity in this game today. I really didn't. It just looked like a bunch of basic stuff. But yeah, the defense just didn't come to play. The offense, excuse me. The offense didn't come to play. The defense did fine. For most part of the game. And but at the very end, when that player broke the plane with the ball, there was a 49er player, I can't remember who it was, but he was tackling that guy low. So the guy was able to lean across and touch the plane, across the plane like this, in order to score a touchdown. And what really should have happened, the defender should have been up high, standing straight up and holding the guy, keeping him out like this. That's what he should have been doing. Instead, He just, you know, he just tackles him around his ankles or knees, and the guy was able to lean forward. That's not a good way to lose a football game. That was pathetic. 49ers should have won that game, and they could have won that game. But there were opportunities on the field. There were opportunities, you know, and they just didn't take advantage of it. I that last possession that we had, I wanted the touchdown. You know, there's people that would tell me and say, "Well, don't be so greedy. At least you're leading." Look. In games like this, you need to put the game away. You need to put it away, and the way you put it away is being up by a couple of scores. That's how you win. This was a pathetic performance by the 49ers offense. I didn't see any kind of, you know, um, urgency in this game. I could tell Garoppolo wasn't happy. You could see it in his face. But I just feel that we should have spread the ball around more to the other receivers. We did late in the game. We did, but not enough. And this is what happens. This is what happens. I don't like losing games, and I do not like losing these close games because all you do is look back and you think, oh, well maybe we done this, when have we done that? These are the kind of games that are hard to sleep on. You know what I'm saying? I tell you, man, these guys, like I said, they're not a championship team. They're a good team. They're a good team, and I think that next year we're going to be even better, and maybe next year we'll be a championship team. But this year, I just can't say it because championship teams win the games that matter, and this team did not play this game. I mean, they because this in a lot of ways these last games are like playoff games. They're very critical. You've got to win these games down the stretch. They didn't do it. They went out there and laid a freaking egg offense. Their offense just didn't do it. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's got to get a hold of his players and say, look, guys, we got to do better than this. You know. So that's what we're going to do, right? We're just going to let the Seahawks win the division. We're just going to let them win it, right? I mean, we always take it in the, what, by the Seahawks. They always got the bust of us. So they always get it their way in the division. But, we're part fault of that because we don't go out and try to really beat them, and we don't really try to control our destiny. Instead, we're just happy to be in the playoffs. And you know what? Today the Rams were beat, and that put us into the playoffs. I don't want to go into the playoffs getting help from somebody else. We got to take care of our own business. We got to take care of our own business. We shouldn't rely on other teams to help us. But we don't do that. And keep in mind, if we go in as a wild card, I don't know what's going to happen with the Dallas and the Philadelphia situation, in that division, but in the Eastern Division. But let's say Dallas or let's say Philadelphia wins that division. We may have to travel on the road to a cold place, freezing, bad elements or whatever. I mean, football is supposed to be played in the elements, and football players should know how to play in those elements. But those elements can sometimes have an effect on the game, as we saw in Baltimore, the game in Washington against the Washington. That game was a messy game, and they had a hard time trying to win that game, but they did win it. But it was a sloppy game. These guys got to take advantage. When you have the ball, you have to score. I wanted a touchdown. I can't believe it. That play where the ball, if Kittle had that ball, he would have turned up and got that first down. He would have ran right up and got that first down. Instead, he fumbles the ball out of bounds, and we come up short. It's almost like the football gods did that on purpose just for us to lose. It's very frustrating, and I just don't see. I can't see this team winning in the playoffs. I mean, I know a lot of you are going to say, how can you be a 49er fan? How can you say that? It's just what I see right now with this team. What I saw in that game told me a lot today. This team has to learn how to finish games. And the 49ers really should have saw this coming. They should have looked at this and said, okay, here come the Atlanta Falcons, a team that's 4-9, not going anywhere, um, have nothing to lose. They want to come in, they want to beat us, they want to, pull off an upset and screw things up for us, and that's what they did. That's basically what they did. So, yeah, this is one that's it's tough to swallow. It really is. This team has got to learn to do better than this. We got to win that game next week. Because if we lose against the Rams, next week, and the Seahawks win, the Seahawks will clinch the NFC West. They could clinch it next weekend. Believe they don't. That doesn't have to come down to Seattle. It could come down to next weekend. If we lose next weekend, and the Seahawks win, well, that's where it's going to go. They're gonna clinch it. And they're gonna be all happy and talk all kinds of trash towards us. I mean, we're in the playoffs, but not for long if we keep continuing to play like this. We cannot. We have to learn how to finish games. But the offense just looked like garbage today. A lot of punts. There was the turnover. It was just terrible. It was just really terrible. I mean, if this team wants to win, they got to start playing like it. But like I said, they're not playing like it. They're just not playing like it right now. I mean, after this game, they're not playing like it. I mean, the last week they struggled against the Saints, and that was because the Saints, they have a good offensive line, and Drew Brees has a quick release. He gets rid of that ball quickly. But for the second week in a row, our defense didn't play well. It's just unacceptable performance. But it is what it is, and at the end of the day, we're just gonna have to figure out a way to make it better. You know. Um, I know that our offensive line, is a little banged up. We lost our nose tackle, but I don't know why they can't use Jimmy Garoppolo on a lot of those rollout plays. He seems to be able to buy himself some time to complete passes. I think he should do it that way a lot more than he does just dropping back and passing. The rollout plays seem to work better for him, but it is what it is, man. I just wish Kittle had got that when we had the last possession. I just wish Kittle had brought that ball in. I just wish, because I know he would have fought for a first down and would have got it, and we still would have had the ball and we would have had control of the game. Got to get those touchdowns. That's all there is to it. Field goals will only keep it close. Field goals will only keep you in it, but they won't. They don't always guarantee you a victory. There's always the impending chance of losing a game, and that's what happened today. We lost. We didn't go out there and offensively and take care of business. But yeah, it just. I live in the Northwest, so I guess I got to hear about it all week. How the Seahawks are in first place. The Seahawks could, like I said, they could win the NFC West. They could clinch the division next week. If we do not win that game Saturday against the Rams, they could clinch the NFC West. And wouldn't that be a shame after, all week long or all season long, being in first place most of the time, and here comes the Seahawks sneaking up on us and taking it from us. But we have to be blamed for that. We allow this. We allow that to happen to us. This is just unacceptable. Well, you know what? That is my video. Um, you know, it's a shameful thing they lost. We'll see what happens next week. You know, playing the Rams. The Rams. I don't know if the Rams are been eliminated by their loss, but if they have been eliminated by their loss, then they are another team that is playing for, you know, being a spoiler. So we gotta prepare, you know. And I think the Rams are better than Atlanta, so we better watch out. We better start playing better. Okay, so that's all I want to say, and everybody, until next week's video, everybody take care. Disappointing day, but hey, you know, you learn from these things. They're gonna have to learn from this. They gotta score when they have the chance. Okay, I give Atlanta credit. I do give Atlanta credit because they tried hard, they worked hard to win that game. But we, on the other hand, also blew the game with our penalties and miscues and not being able to score. And we needed those touchdowns. That's what happens. Okay, everybody, take care. I'll talk to you next week about next week's game. All right, take care.